False start.
I was ready.
My phone wasn't, apparently. So, at least somebody was ready, though. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Empire 161 Show, Season 4, Episode 8. Josh Donaldson's back wondering what's beef. So, that's our opening with today. What's Beef by Notorious B.I.G. That's Josh Donaldson's walk-up music, or at least the last time we saw him at the stadium. Maybe I'll change it on Tuesday night, who knows. But yeah, thanks for joining us on this Sunday evening, as always. We got a couple of Yankee games to talk about this week. You know, it's a little bit of a short week for us, but nonetheless, excited to talk about Bronx Bombers baseball. I'm Ed, and with me, as always, is Lisa. Lisa, what's up?
Hey, thanks for joining us, folks. So we will be talking about, now, if you're a loyal listener, like I know we have some folks, you know that we already covered Game 1 versus the Mariners in our last podcast. So this week we'll wrap up that series. Interestingly enough, the Yankees scored 20 runs in the first two games of that series, but then in Game 3, spoiler alert, because we're going to go over it, they lost 1-0. How does that happen? I think that was in the 10th inning, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're going to get into the Dodgers series, and we're going to cover games 1 and 2 because Game 3 is right after us tonight. So we'll see what happens there, but we are currently split with them, hoping we could take the rubber game of that match with Domingo Germán starting for us. And I just wanted to share with you all that I got to go to a Staten Island Ferry Hawks game this weekend with some of my loved ones and my former teammates on the Bombers. So if you remember when I first joined the podcast with Ed, I talked about how I am a Yankee Hall of Famer, legitimately. I legitimately played on their spring training field in Tampa with Homer Bush as my coach for 3 out of the 5 years. He was my coach for the Bombers, and he is now the manager of the Staten Island Ferry Hawks, and a couple of the women from our team went to cheer on his team. We got to see him before the game. Ed always makes fun of our Instagram handle because it's a long, interesting one. But if you go to our Instagram page, you can see some of the pictures that I took from the game. We had a lot of fun, and it was great to see Homer and my teammates. There were 6 of us there from the original team that I started with. So it was just really nice to get together with everybody and to see them. And it's a really pretty stadium, very, very pretty stadium, in a very random place. But Ed would say that's Staten Island for you. So, but we had a good time. We had a really good time there. We had a suite. It was nice, but it was nothing like the one that we were in. That's for sure.
No, I saw some of the pics. They look pretty cool. I mean, it looked like a good time. And
yeah,
was it? It's still. Is it Richmond County Bank Stadium, or maybe I don't know what the heck the name of it is now?
Something Community Bank, something or other. It's right across from the police station. It's right next to the mall. The mall looks like it could have a lot of potential, but it looks like it still has a lot of empty stores in it. It's a really cool looking mall though, because it's an outdoor space mall. Mm-hmm. So you're outdoors when you're walking from the stores to this. So that part of it was nice. But it was a little bit more bustling when we first got there, and then by the time the game was over, it was practically dead, which was weird because the game was over at like 6:45 on a Saturday evening. Mm-hmm. So it was just weird to see them all kind of dead. But yeah, no, we all had a great time. Homer was happy to see us all. We were happy to see him. He's a lovely, he and his wife are a lovely, lovely couple who I'm proud to call my friends. And it was just great to see him and his energy. And really cool news, there's a female player on his team.
I thought I had seen that somewhere, like, right? Is she one of the pitchers that they have? Or?
She's a pitcher and an outfielder. Yeah. So she didn't pitch yesterday. She was an outfielder yesterday. Her name is Kelsey. Okay. I want to say her last name is Whitmore. I could be wrong. But we didn't even notice it until towards the end of the game, just because we were all like, talking to each other and not really paying attention. I'm also happy to report they have a mascot. His name is Frankie. And yesterday was his first birthday. And he came to our suite and took a picture with us.
Nice. Nice.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, actually, Tim brought it to my attention on Facebook But apparently, today's the birthday of the Empire 161 show. By the way, which I was not.
Oh, no way.
I will fully admit I was not aware of. But yeah, today is the birthday because we started it in June of 2020. So yeah,
Oh,
this would be the
happy birthday to the podcast.
yeah, exactly. So that was pretty cool. I mean, it was started during an odd time for everybody, June of
Mhm.
2020, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we've gone through a couple of shifts and changes over the time, but nonetheless, still moving along here, still growing every week. So yeah,
Yeah.
happy birthday in the universe to the Empire 161 show. There you go. I'm glad we got to do the
Yeah.
show today,
That
being
is
that it landed on
cool.
us. So
It was meant to
good
be
stuff.
today.
There you go. Because we were fiddling around with times and dates and stuff like that, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on. So
Yeah.
tonight worked out best.
So you said 2020 or 2021?
2020. So happy third birthday to the Empire
Nice.
161 show. But all right, well let's jump into it then. Let's pick it up where we left off in the second game in the Yankees West Coast trip there, where the Yankees went ahead and beat down the Mariners for the second game in a row by a final of 10-2. Nestor Cortez did pick up his fifth win of the season, pushing his record to 5-2. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 Ks. So not exactly sparkling, but nonetheless getting the job done. Offense did pick him up. Aaron Judge hit his 18th home run of the season with 2 walks and 2 runs scored. Anthony Volpe did hit a big 3-run homer, his 8th home run of the season, driving in 3. And Greg Allen was 1 for 4 with his first home run of the season. But the biggest night of all was IKF, going 4-5 with 4 RBIs and a run scored. One of those, a bases clearing double. So that was pretty exciting there. And honestly, a nice game I mentioned last week. There's a kind of a whole routine when the Yankees have late night games on the West Coast. So 8th and 9th inning, relaxed, watched in bed because the Yankees had the game in hand at that point. So that was also nice to get a little bit of a head start on that. But two players that we did mention in the highlights, though, there is information on them. Nestor Cortez probably heading to not officially yet, but it looks like he's heading to the IL. That news broke right before we went on. With a shoulder injury, so maybe that does explain some of his, issues over the last couple of starts.
Yeah, like
and Greg Allen. Yeah, exactly. Not exactly looking too sharp. His location, not exactly on point. But Greg Allen, though, did hurt himself, during the West Coast trip. So, he also headed to the IL, and that brought back Oswaldo Cabrera, who was sent down.
Literally went like,
yep.
He barely touched down and had to get right back on a plane.
Yeah. So, I mean, that works out too. Hopefully the kid goes ahead and, gets things together this time around.
Listen, he did hit a home run. I was excited for him.
He absolutely did. He came back with a bang. Yeah. But we'll get to that more in a second. But yeah, that was the story for Wednesday night's game. Actually, it was Tuesday night's game against the Mariners.
Yeah, so I do have one quick fun fact. When Aaron Judge hit his 18th home run in the top of the 7th, that was his 12th home run in 16 games since May 13th, which is 4 more than any other Major League player and 7 more than any other American League hitter. Sorry if you can hear the sirens going by me on the BQE. On the BQE. But yes, 4 more than any other Major League player and 7 more than any AL hitter. And then he went ahead and hit at least 1 more after that. He is also somebody that Ed said, like, we just have to, be careful, watch out for him because he did run into a fence yesterday after making a great catch. So I think you said he's not on the lineup for today?
No, Aaron Judge is getting the night off tonight.
Yeah. Which, like I told you before we went on air, he ran into that fence hard.
No, he did. But his comments after the game were interesting, and that's kind of what I would expect from him.
He pulled the Jeter?
No, he just whatever. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. But okay. Yeah, that was.
The next game is only going to take us a minute to talk about anyway. So.
So the Yanks did go ahead and they did take the series, but did drop the finale by a final 1-0 in 10 innings. The interesting parts about the game, though, Clark Schmidt he did pitch really well. You know, he didn't go 7 innings or anything like that, but he pitched 5 2/3, only giving up 3 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. So I know we said this a couple times lately, but Clark Schmidt definitely his best start of the season so far. So good news is looks like he's starting to find it, starting to pick it up. And with Nestor heading to the IL, most likely, you know, they are going to need him to pick it up. So that's good to see. Ron Marinaccio did take the loss, pushing his record to 2-2. Yanks offense 3 for 22 on the night, which was pretty pitiful. But a 0-0 score going into the 10th inning when the Yankees had the Manfred man on second base and had a golden opportunity to score and failed to do so. Anthony Volpe hit a weak grounder into the infield. I believe it was IKF also kind of had a chance to go ahead and drive in a run. Did not do that either. So it was just frustrating because you stay up for that, and that part is frustrating. But they also had a golden opportunity in the 10th inning to take advantage of that, and they failed to do so. So it's just one that got away. So you're hoping that doesn't come back to bite them in the ass, you know, later on in the season if they miss out on winning the division or something like that.
Yeah, and this was the Mariners' first walk-off against the Yankees since August of last year, where they won it in 13 innings.
Yeah, so more Manfred Man fiasco action there nonetheless. But I had a bad feeling once they didn't score. I'm like, this is going to be tough to get out of. So unfortunately not the case. They did have an off day on Thursday, but then picked it up for a big series against the Dodgers that started on Friday night. Friday night, the good news was that we did get Josh Donaldson and Giancarlo Stanton and Tommy Kahnle back. All three actually did get in the game on Friday night, but Yanks were kind of smacked around a bit by the Dodgers by a final of 8-4, and honestly, this game wasn't even as close as that score might even indicate. Luis Severino had nothing. I mean, he got destroyed in the first inning. He took his first loss of the season. His stat line isn't even – it's better than what you might think. Well, it was bad, but like 4 innings. No. Well, I was just going to say highlighting the 4 innings part because honestly, we were texting. It was shocking he even got out of the first inning. But I kind of understood where Boone was coming from to an extent because he doesn't want to go ahead and just run through the entire bullpen in the first game of a series.
I get it, but I think I told you in the third when JD Martinez hit his home run, I was like, why is he still pitching?
Well, I'm just saying, in Boone's defense, and I temporarily had some issues with him in the next game, which I was going to highlight, but then when I saw the reasoning, I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't on him. But whatever, 4 innings, 9 hits, 7 earned runs, a walk, 2 Ks. The stat line's bad. There's no sugarcoating it. Severino had nothing. His location was way off. Pitches going straight down the middle. Breaking balls, not breaking them in. He literally had nothing. But he at least gave them 4 innings. Kahnle got into the game, looked pretty good in his comeback. But they didn't have to run through their top relievers, which was the bright side to it. Josh Donaldson, 2 for 4, though, on the night. He had 2 home runs. That gave him 3 on the season, driving in 3. 2 runs scored. Giancarlo Stanton was 1 for 3 with his 5th home run of the season with a walk and 2 runs scored. So good to see both of them back. We knew what the plan was, though. They did mention it on the broadcast that both were only going to play 2 games of the series against the Dodgers. So both of them did get in that night. And that does bring – actually, before we move on, though, Friday was Lou Gehrig Day.
Yes, I was just going to say
across baseball. Yep. And I know, like, we kind of feel like in some ways we talk about Roto-Wear a lot on this. But there was a nice thing that they had. They did have this shirt, and it is still available. It's Baseball is the Best shirt, and it's an ALS. All the proceeds do go to, ALS. So that's kind of why I picked up the shirt over the winter. So something there if you want to check it out. It happens to be in Yankees colors. So that's also a pretty cool thing there, too. But it is nice to see that they're acknowledging Lou Gehrig because he's also like Yogi. He's a guy I kind of feel like in some weird ways doesn't get the full credit that I feel like he deserves as a player. Again, I just feel like it's because he played with Ruth. a lot of it that he kind of gets like the number 2 guy thing. But Lou Gehrig was all time great, and to give the speech like he did in his final game, like that's a lot. That shows what kind of a person he really was, and that's a tremendous human being.
Yeah, I remember they said this last year and they said it again this year. One of the things that always strikes me is that since he was diagnosed, there's been little to no breakthroughs
Yeah,
in the research. And I to me it's hard to understand that because a lot of other diseases have had, even if it's just minor breakthroughs, they've had. Like
yeah,
we've consistently learned more about them. And then we just went through a pandemic where we learned a lot about something we never knew even existed in a 3-year period. Whether all of that was accurate or not is, up for debate. I'm not talking about that right now, but they did find out a lot about COVID in that time frame. So to not find out about this when people are still being diagnosed with it, they're actually honoring somebody on Hope Week that works for Major League Baseball, I believe.
yeah,
That I think they said she's 29 and she's been diagnosed, and um, so like she's 29. That's young. Like Ed and I are way older than that.
yeah.
um, and this young lady is like, and she's from what I'm hearing, like an amazing baseball analyst.
I've seen her a
And
couple of times on MLB Network. She is really good. She really
yeah,
knows her shit.
loves the sport. So like, I don't know. I hope that, continuing to raise awareness for this will help things out. Do you remember the ice bucket challenge?
Of course, I participated in it. Like it
Yeah, me
was,
too.
yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I just think like you mentioned, bringing awareness to ALS, as much fun as a lot of us had with the ice bucket challenge. Don't forget what was the whole point of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it
I mean,
was
but
to
that's
bring
what
awareness.
I brought it up again to say, like,
Yeah,
that's a
no,
good
of
way
course.
for people to raise awareness, right? Because like it's a fun way to raise awareness, but you're still raising awareness while doing it. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I hope that they can start making progress with that.
yeah, no,
Because there's just been so many others that they have made a lot of progress around. I mean, even one that's near and dear to my family is Parkinson's. And there's I won't say breakthroughs, but there's always things that we're learning about Parkinson's disease. To not really learn anything about ALS in all this time, that's a lot. That's a long time.
yeah, and it's a horrible disease. I mean,
Yeah.
for anyone who's been familiar with it whatsoever, and it affects a good amount of people here, and it sucks. It's hard.
Mhm.
It's tough, man. So yeah, good thing seeing the Yanks do something with Hope Week with Sarah as well, because I mean that's always I actually Hope Week I really look forward to every year because I mean
Me too.
it's those stories are tremendous that come
Yeah.
through there. So it was really nice that the Yanks started doing. I believe it started in '09 when they started Hope
Definitely
Week.
been
Yeah,
around for a long time. Yeah.
yeah. So all right, and then Yanks went ahead and played on Fox last night as they, things jump around to all different stations and stuff like that with baseball these days. But they did bounce back by a final of 6-3 over the Dodgers. Garrett Cole, though, he was tremendous in this. And, again, maybe he didn't have his best stuff necessarily, but I mean, he shut him down. I mean, he picked up his 7th win of the season, pushing his record to 7-0. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Clay Holmes did pick up his 6th save of the season. The offense supplied Jake Bauers 2 for 3 with 2 home runs on the night, giving him
Hmm.
5 on the season, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Aaron Judge was 1 for 3 with his 19th home run of the season with a walk. And as we had mentioned earlier, a phenomenal catch in right field,
Hmm.
literally going into the gate. And I really the call that was made after that by Max Muncy, who was on first base, was awarded second base because Judge was deemed to be going out of the field of play because that he ran through a fence. Really, really. And I mentioned earlier, Judge's comments after the game to Ken Rosenthal, which also I want to mention. Him standing next to Ken Rosenthal was like Andre the Giant being interviewed by like a child or something. Like it was insane.
Like Pee Wee Reese.
Yeah, it was nuts. But I think you got to use common sense in that situation of via the umpires. I'm like, really, like the gate broke, and Judge had mentioned he just kind of paused, looked like he had to think about it for a second. Maybe he wanted to say something else about this.
Oh, he 100% wanted to.
Well, I guess they have to make stronger fence in right field. I mean, what are you going to say right there? I mean, you went through a damn chain link fence, and it broke, and then come on. He shouldn't have been awarded second. If he tagged up and went on his own, I mean, whatever. But, like, they'll award him second base because he was deemed out of the field of play. Complete nonsense. That was just absurd.
That is
Sorry,
absurd.
Lyssa, go ahead.
No, the only thing I was going to say about the catch that you didn't cover is that he covered 79 feet in 4.7 seconds to make that catch.
He's just... If he doesn't get the Gold Glove this season, I mean, I just don't know when that's ever going to happen. I mean, he's long overdue for this thing. And then the Gold Glove is an award that, if you win it, it does mean something. But there are times where you kind of got to, like, take it with a grain of salt at times, because there are times it's a popularity contest where people just kind of, like, I feel like they just check the box and wing it, and that's it. Like, oh, yeah, this guy's good, so we'll just go ahead and do that. And that's how I feel some of it's been. I mean, this honestly came up to me years ago when Rafael Palmeiro won a Gold Glove over Tino Martinez. The man played less than 35 games at first base. Like, are we serious? Like, he was just mainly a DH that season. So that's when I started, like, Gold Glove is grain of salt every season. Like, you know what you see when you see it. Judge is a Gold Glove right field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. But to cover the stat line too, yeah. So Oswaldo Cabrera though came off the bench and was 1-for-1 with his 4th home run of the season. That was a bomb. Batting right-handed, as you know, many of you know he's a switch hitter. So that was nice to see him kind of getting a swing back, returning from returning from AAA over there. So that was pretty cool to see.
Can we say he returned when he never even got there?
They said they had this whole story about him being in Newark Airport and getting back here, and like he pretty much got to the stadium. He got to Dodger Stadium as the game was going on. So Angel's like, all right, listen, let's go. Time to go, pinch hit, and boom. You'll go ahead and belt a big home run. So another thing, too, is Cole came out after the 6 innings. Baffling at the time because he only had 80 pitches. Mm-hmm. And I was losing my shit. I'm like, because then Boone brings Wandy Peralta in, who goes in and starts getting smacked around, gets pulled out without recording an out. Michael King comes in relief for him. And I'm just like, why is he out of the game? Like, I'm losing my shit. And I was already on a text chain like, I can't wait to hear what the hell Boone has to say about this crap. But then it was revealed that Cole was cramping up. And Boone decided to not test it. I'm sure Cole wanted to stay in the game. I don't think Cole was asking out of the game because he was cramping up. I'm pretty sure he was just like, anyone who's had cramps in their calf or legs or whatever the heck, like it sucks. It's horrible. Supposedly he was downing everything to hydrate as much as humanly possible. It just wasn't happening.
And scarfing down bananas like he's prone.
Listen, that guy takes down a banana like in a dugout. Yes, I know. Like nobody's business there, but whatever. Do what you want with it. It's easy for a joke. But man, the dude's just like taking down bananas. I'm like, well, I actually tell you the truth. There was last season during softball. There was a day that was really hot. It was like almost 100 degrees. And because of Garrett Cole, I remembered to bring bananas that day, and I was trying to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they do work, though.
They do, yeah. The potassium helps.
No, it's true. But yeah, no, Boone was open for that. But once I heard about the cramping, I'm just like, all right, fine, whatever. Not your fault necessarily, but we've seen Captain Hook at it. I mean, we've criticized him almost every week. There's always at least one occasion where like he couldn't wait to get him out of there. So.
And then in the case, well, we already talked about this, but I still have an issue with him leaving Severino in there for 4 innings.
No, and no, but Lyssa, you're not wrong about that. I'm not like. It's just that I kind of understand with it, but to your point, they have another off day tomorrow. They have off days built around the series, so maybe
Yes.
you had time anyway.
They also have a lot of off days in June. Like this is the month where they have them all.
There's a lot of
Um,
Mondays. A lot of
yeah.
Mondays.
So, but my other thing with that, um, God, I'm getting old.
What
I hate
happened?
when this happens.
What
It went.
happened? Oh,
The idea went. Give me 1 second to think about it, and if I can't, we'll keep moving. Um. Oh, I got it back. I got it back. The other thing I hate about that is that I honestly think the game could have been closer if he pulled him sooner because we did start to hit. I mean, we were losing 6-0 in the first inning, but the game was 8-4, right? And I
mhm.
think maybe if you pulled him earlier and people were able to lock things down in terms of the pitching, um, maybe we would have caught up and made it a real game instead of that. It felt like a blowout in that first inning. I mean, I was definitely I texted you a couple of choice words about that inning. So, um, but I don't know. I think that's what made it frustrating for me. I was like, we might have won this game had he pulled him earlier, and coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Um, so who knows? But I think he just Boone needs to be a little bit more consistent. Either let your guys play or consistently pull them all. Like I don't know what to tell you. Because it's frustrating. He seems to do the opposite of what seems to make sense to everybody else. So
Yeah. And I'm in some ways, I'm also somewhat glad that there was a cramping excuse for Cole instead of him actually making the decision. I actually think we would have seen Cole like have a meltdown in the dugout, and he would have been warranted to be pulled after 80 pitches, and if he wasn't cramping or something like that, to be pulled out of
hmm
that game. So that made absolutely no
I
freaking
mean,
sense.
honestly, I think like he's the only one that Boone's not going to pull him unless he wants to be pulled. So
It's true. But well, he's the ace. He's earned the right to go do what he's got to do. He is.
he's,
He's the
he's
best pitcher on the team.
I'm not saying he's not. He's also a diva.
At times, I've seen less of it this year.
Yes,
He
yes.
seems less of it this year. So maybe he's learned his lesson. Maybe he kind of was aware of his. He could be. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm hoping maybe he was brought to his attention. Is like, all right, maybe I need to chill out a little bit.
I don't
So, all right. Well, let's get to tonight's game because the Yanks do go ahead and they start at on Sunday Night Baseball tonight. Which are they doing a K Rod podcast for this? Is there a K Rod telecast for tonight?
Are you asking me this?
I don't know. I'm actually kind of
Because
curious. I
I've
didn't.
never once listened to that,
Well,
and
I was
never
gonna.
will.
Well, it was leading to my question is that I might actually watch an inning then on that just to see what it's about. Like I've admittedly popped in and out of games at times, more for games that I'm not like the Yankees aren't involved in because I'm not as like on the edge of my seat with it. So I'm just curious to know what it sounds like. And I feel like for a game like tonight, it's gonna piss me off because I'd rather just like watch the game and just that's that.
Mhm.
If it is, maybe I will check out an inning and we'll talk about it next week and we'll see what's up. I mean, the less I hear about A-Rod, I mean, the better. But nonetheless, I don't mind giving something a sample to see what it's about. All right. Having said that, though, we got a lineup for tonight's game. Lyssa, you want to go through this winner?
Absolutely, and thank you very much for that first picture. It is wonderful.
Yeah.
Leading off is Gleyber Torres playing second base. Uh, Batting second is our boy Anthony Rizzo, and he'll be playing first base as always. DHing for the Yankees tonight is Giancarlo Stanton, and hopefully he could, hit another home run and just keep progressing as this is his second game back from the IL. Willie Calhoun's going to be in left field, and he'll be batting cleanup number 4. And then we have DJ LeMahieu batting fifth at third base. Jake Dammit, Chloe Bowers batting sixth in right field. Our boy IKF, who continues to impress and like quietly do the right thing. He'll be batting seventh, and he'll be in center. Kyle Higashioka is catching, and he will be batting eighth. And then Anthony Volpe. Volpe, I really hope your bat starts to work again because I don't know what's going on with you. But you're batting ninth in shortstop. So, let's get some things together. Let's string some hits together for you, my friend. And then Domingo Herman will be pitching for us today, and he's our righty on the mound.
Yeah, and one thing with Volpe too is I know there's been a lot of chatter this week regarding Anthony Volpe. Should the Yanks send him down? Should they not? Not in favor of sending him down to go. I mean, yeah, I understand the argument of trying to get him to maybe just straighten out his swing mechanics and stuff like that. So you
Hmm.
do notice a slightly different approach that's going on recently with him. But I think these are the growing pains. This is just what it is. And apparently, this has kind of been somewhat Volpe's MO here. Like when he does move up a level, he tends to struggle for the first couple of months. And then once he kind of gets adapted, that's usually when he takes off. So hopefully, you know, but this isn't. We're not talking about this on July 4th weekend, and he's still struggling. Because then I would say we got to kind of reconsider some things, and maybe he might need some time to go back down and straighten things out. Especially with Peraza tearing it up in the minors since he, got healthy again. So there is some pressure right there. But right now, Volpe's not killing them. He's not hurting them, and
No, he's not hurting him, and he certainly,
no.
when he does get on base, he's certainly an asset there. And on defense, he's been doing a really good job. So,
Yeah, and him batting ninth is kind of probably, that should be cool for him to go ahead and not as much pressure leading off and stuff like that. Plus, labor has flourished since being moved to the leadoff spot.
yeah, he has.
Yeah, so let Volpe bat ninth, figure his way out, straighten things out down there. But again, if we are talking about this in a month, then you got to kind of maybe reconsider. Maybe he needs to get sent down again and straighten things out. But for right now, I'm good with it.
We'll keep
Do what you got to do. Yeah. So. All right, so that's the game tonight on Sunday Night Baseball for the conclusion of this West Coast road trip, and at a reasonable time, which is even better for us.
Oh my gosh, thankfully.
So that brings us to our awards of the week. The top of the heap hitter of the week.
Probably have the same person.
Okay, I have a feeling that's the case, but I'm going to go with Jake Bauers.
Oh, okay, we don't.
Oh, I played that one off nicely. No, it is Jake Bauers. Over his last 7 games, he is hitting 400 with a 500 odd base percentage and a slugging of 1133. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 4 walks, 6 hits, and 3 runs scored. So that's who I'm going with, man. Like maybe shooting people in the kneecaps, asking for hitting tips from Chloe or whatever it is, what's going on here. That's it. He's kind of getting it done, man. It's good to see, though, because he's still a pretty young player. Mm-hmm. Who's getting a chance, and he's doing the best with it. So it's good to see. And hey, maybe the Yanks go ahead and find a diamond in the rough here. So, who do you got this week?
I actually picked Aaron Judge.
Nice. Well, I mean, Judge any week, you can't go wrong. I mean, but sure.
So I'll quickly run his line. His OPS is 1.514. 294 average, 4 home runs, 5 RBIs, 6 runs, 5 hits, 5 walks. His on base percentage is 455, and his slugging is 1.059 for the last week.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. All right, and that brings us to our pitcher of the week, which we refer to as the King of the Hill. Lyssa, who do you got this week?
You're going to be proud of me again because I went with a reliever.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So I picked Albert Abreu for this week.
Wow. Not many weeks. I don't foresee many weeks we're going to get Albert Abreu as the King of the Hill pitcher of the week.
Yeah, but in the last 7 days, his ERA was 0. He was in 2 games, 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 0.67 WHIP, and a 100 average with the batters against him. So, not bad, Albert.
No, not bad at all. And he's a guy who I feel like I can see the potential with the Yankees seeing him. It's just there's times where he just drives me completely out of my mind. So it's just he's frustrating. Mm-hmm. My King of the Hill pitcher of the week, I'm going to go with Clark Schmidt.
Wow.
With his best start of the season, another unlikely candidate. Mm-hmm. I mean, Cole could have been the easy one to go with. Albert Abreu is another good choice as well. But I'm going to go with Clark Schmidt and reference his tough luck, no decision on Wednesday night. He went 5 2/3, his best start of the season, only surrendering 3, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 7 Ks. So he's also going to be a key to the Yanks as well until Carlos Rodon can finally find his way back. I mean, they need Schmidt to stay in this rotation and to keep getting it done. So that's going to be my guy for this week. All right, and that brings us to the upcoming series against the White Sox, which starts on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week. So, Lisa, what do we got? I know it's early and there's still a game in between, but what do we got for the upcoming White Sox series?
Yes. So on Tuesday we have Giolito. Sorry if I say his name wrong. Lucas Giolito for the White Sox. He's a right-hand pitcher, 4-4 record, 4.08 ERA with 69 strikeouts, and he will be playing versus King of the Hill, Clark Schmidt, right-hand pitcher, 2-5 record, 5.01 ERA, and 65 strikeouts. And then on Wednesday we have Lance Lynn, right-hand pitcher, 4-6 record, 6.55 ERA with 76 strikeouts. And unfortunately, the Yankees, as of 3 seconds before we went live, have TBD as their starting pitcher for this game. So we will see who that's going to be. It's probably because it was going to be Nestor Cortez, but he's now going to be on the IL. So we'll see what they do there. And then on Thursday, we have Mike Clevenger, right-hand pitcher, 3-3 record, 4.13 ERA, and 46 strikeouts. And he will be going up against Luis Severino, right-hand pitcher, 0-1 record, 5.28 ERA, 12 strikeouts on the season. I do want to take a minute before you go through the Pop Culture Pros, cast of characters. Why did it sound like a cat just meowed?
I don't know what's going on. These kids are getting crazy out there in the driveway, so that's actually what's happening.
That really threw me off. It sounded like a cat.
Me too. It diverted my attention right away. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Anything could happen on the podcast, folks. But I just wanted to remind people, vote for your favorite players to get into the All-Star game. Voting is already underway, and I've definitely voted twice already. I'm sure Ed has as well. I'm being fair. I'm being fair this year. I'm not being biased. I'm actually going by people's stats, not by who I like.
So you're not voting for Stanton every time for DH?
I am not. I promise I am not. Okay. I actually voted for JD Martinez.
In the AL?
Sorry. Nope.
Yeah.
And NL. Who did I vote for in the AL? I don't remember now.
I think by
JD Martinez was in the AL for a long time. So, yes, no, I don't remember who it is off the top of my head.
That's fine. You can throw Stanton some votes. He gets to vote up to 5 times a day, so you can throw some in there. It's fine.
I could, but I'm going for who should really be in there. So I did definitely vote for Judge, though. That's for sure.
That's got to be a given. I mean, if he's not starting right fielder.
I used to watch a show, and I won't embarrass myself by saying what it was because it's trash. But I used to watch a show where people would assume that somebody would get votes, so they didn't vote for them, and then the person wouldn't get move. I don't want that to happen to him.
No, not at all.
I don't want people to assume that he's going to be in it and then not vote for him. So
no, don't play games. Stuff the box
every
single time. That's it. All right, so that kind of does it for us this week. So thanks for joining us as always. If you're checking us out on Facebook, be sure to check out the Empire 161 Show Facebook group. We share a bunch of highlights and lineups on a daily basis and other stories that don't make the show. So check that out. If you're checking us out on Facebook, check out Pop Culture Pros as well and popculturepros.com. That's who we're presenting from. On YouTube, subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. Twitter, follow at Pop Culture Pros. And also follow ours. And if you're checking us out there, we got our Twitter handle at Empire161 Show. So check that out. And on Instagram, at the_Empire_161_show. And it's a lot of fun. So follow us, check us out, do whatever you got to do with that.
Ed, that's the first time you said it without sarcasm.
No, I decided to go with it. We've got to listen. I'm done with that. I'm just gonna go with it now. So.
Oh, what a great birthday gift for the show!
Yes, why not? Why keep on beating the dead horse here? So, so go ahead and check that out as well, and all the other shows that we got on the network. If you're into comic books and stuff, Granny's Peach Tea will be on Wednesday night. It's supposed to be on tomorrow night, but it got preempted. So check us out on Wednesday night. We'll be talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and also the latest episodes of Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights. If you're into wrestling, check out Just Too Sweet Show on Tuesday nights with Tim and Eric. Unsportsmanlike Conduct covers all kinds of sports, so check that out. If you're into the Mets, check out the Put in the Book Show with Rachi, Rodriguez, and Keith. They cover the New York Mets. We will see you next week. Let's go Yankees.
Woo! Thanks, everybody.